Well, Steve Art's 89. Well, we're getting a lot of press on Avatar as it, The Way of Water, as it approaches release. And there's just so much speculation because this film has to make a lot of money. It has to be huge. There's a bit of criticism that basically all the cinemas are going to be dedicated to the film over like the Christmas holiday. And, some people would like an option of what to see, but it seems like this is going to be the only option that you have to see. And it's so perilous, the position they've put themselves in with the amount of money they've spent on this film and how much it has to make. And they're basing it all on the original film, which could have been a fluke and feels like a gimmick. But James Cameron's been doing a lot of interviews which have been interesting. He made the infamous testosterone statement, which I kind of agree with, and I get what he was saying. People took it not quite out of context, but they certainly focused on parts of it to get some, clickbait articles. But he made another comment about Avatar, comparing it to Marvel and saying, well, Marvel has done like 20 films over like 10 or 15 years and they've had all this time to establish this universe and all these characters. So of course it's going to be more popular, because one of the critics was saying, this film may have made a lot of money, but wasn't it a gimmick? Like, did it have any cultural impact? Does anyone remember the characters or the names of the characters? I remember there was a character that Zoe, I've forgotten her name, Uhura from Star Trek. I remember she had a character and she was hanging out with a guy. There was like a romance. That's all I remember. And Sigourney Weaver was in it. That's all I remember. There were blue aliens on a cool looking planet, and then there were military, and Sigourney Weaver was part of that. That's all I remember about the movie. And basically what's saying, did it have any real cultural impact? Do people remember the characters, the names, or is it just living on its status because of the money it made? And he was sort of defending it and saying, well, if I'd had 20 films, I would have, been able to, have the Avatar world, I can't think of the right word, but seeping into, the popular culture more. And he was sort of defending it. I'm like, you can't really defend that one. You released one film, made a lot of money, and then people just sort of put it aside. And these films were bankrolled on the fact that film made money because studio executives, the people who hand out the money, they're not very smart artistically. You just show them, oh, this film made money, let's make another one of those or one similar to that. It'll make money, right? They're like, yes, we can look at a piece of paper and see that this made this amount of money. So, that's how they work. They can't look at something artistically and have a vision and connect with an audience or be in touch with what, the public wants. That they don't work that way. That's what artists do. With the money guys. So these sequels have been financed and greenlit purely on the fact the first film made a lot of money and they expect this to make money. But it's like, I don't think they really understand why. And it's because it was mostly a gimmick. Because 3D fizzled out mostly because they didn't actually present it properly, which is something I wouldn't see 3D films eventually because they were grey and dull and I didn't enjoy them as much as the standard films, even though they were kind of in 3D, because most of them were converted to 3D, which means they weren't shot for 3D, which means it wasn't as good. It doesn't work like Avatar or films that were actually shot and shot well for 3D. So it's interesting. It's been interesting to watch the press, and I really, really am excited. Not excited, but I just can't wait to see that first weekend, because they're anticipating 100 to 170 to around that sort of for the opening weekend. Now they're saying maybe closer to 200, and this film has to make most of its money in the first week, the first two weekends. Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, its run is kind of over. Once Avatar starts, we could pretty much cap that off how much money that's made, kind of like we could with Black Adam, because that's not going to make 400 million. And that hasn't made a profit, even though they're saying it has. We all know it hasn't. You have to do some very creative finance work there to make it look like that's made money. And The Rock has tried, but you've got to put out the good PR because he's trying to get a sequel. They're trying to make this into a franchise. This is part of the new DCEU going forward, so they kind of have to support it. And they're talking about ditching Superman, Henry Cavill, and ditching Ben Affleck. He's Batman, but there's sort of some gossip that he's having some problems because he's had problems with alcohol in the past, and maybe that's why he can't do it. Like, he doesn't want to do it, he can't commit to it. It's too much stress and pressure to lead a film franchise like that. There's all that sort of talk. We really don't know what's happening with the DCU. A lot of people having fun speculating about Wonder Woman and the third film and Patty Jenkins and her, being forced out or walking out in a fit, and it's a lot of speculation, a lot of fun. The people who make money out of talking about this stuff are having a lot of fun. They're getting a lot of stories out of it. They've got the new boogeyman and so forth. But it'll be interesting to see where they go in the next 6 months to a couple of years with laying out the films and releasing them and what they actually do and how the universe sort of shifts and so forth. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I just feel really chatty today. Everything's interesting me today. I'm going to go. Bye.